All
Yes.
right, we're rolling.
Yes. So I think money is good. We should keep using it is because money is pretty much a symbol. It's a symbol for the physical the physical unit known as work. It's abstraction over work. So we can translate effort we put into one thing and exchange value. It makes things much simpler. There was a time where we didn't have money and we can only barter, and even that most barter was actually derived from money existing, so we couldn't even translate. We were just finding stuff on our own and using it. So we didn't even barter that much till we had money. Yes, we money was invented for the pretty much pay rent to the state. It was for to collect taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But without it, we couldn't have a complicated, cohesive society, especially not as complex as the one we live in.
Mm,
So we could just go live in the woods like Uncle Ted and be away from money.
not,
But even
not what,
he couldn't have bought his let's call them units unless he had something to trade with, and trading his forest bark wouldn't have gone him anywhere on his endeavors. So
okay. Well, I'm not suggesting going to primitive. I'm not suggesting any of that. That's not what's being discussed. What you offered is, the evolution of money. It makes sense from what I've heard as well, that, and it would make sense for the state to receive taxes and income from the people. They've got to have a currency, and so your participation in that is tied to the currency. In the past, though, this is where I want to press back on you, Hank. In the past, money was a great tool, and it's got us to here. But what separated us and made us rely so much on money in this accounting system was the communication. We've evolved a lot since money was introduced, and we have the potential right now available when the values are changed. So here,
How have we evolved past the need for money through communication?
Hey Jack, I put something in the private. If you could read that out loud, it'll bring a lot of
Don't put
clarity.
things in your private.
Okay, you know what I mean. I put a link in the private to read. It's a chap. It's like a small excerpt out of his book. I'm telling you, look into it. It's
Stop
real
assigning us
information.
homework.
why don't you read?
It's
Why don't you
homework.
read it for us yourself, Cage? I mean, you have a mouth. You can read it to us.
I think if Jack read it himself, it would be better.
Well, I think we better you read it,
tell you
Cage.
what,
Just read chapter 4
If-
quickly. I'm telling you, it'll explain it
Read
all.
chapter 4.
hey,
Hank,
Cage, if this was your show, go ahead and go read this. All right. Or anyone who wants to, here, I'll drop the link, but I'd moved on to a different topic. I'm pretty sure, Cage. And
Can you read the first few, like one sentence?
holy shit, dude. Are you serious? When you can pay more attention, Cage, come on, man. Seriously. I
we
don't
may
know.
disagree on money, but we agree on that one.
Yes, I also
Thank you,
agree on
Hank.
that one.
Thank you, Hank. For those who are interested in this, please check out the direction that Cage is pointing you to go. Back to what I was trying to get to, though.
I want to go back to, you said we've evolved past needing money for communication or something to that extent. What is that?
It was poorly said. It was poorly explained. Okay? What I'm trying to articulate is kind of the ideas that Zeitgeist and these other movements are offering, is that
I actually haven't seen that movie all the way through.
this is actually the official trailer of their upcoming Zeitgeist Requiem. And it's been a while since I've looked up the word Zeitgeist, but if I remember right, it's like the energy of the climate of
I think it's a ghost that
Yeah.
makes little girls' heads spin around and throw
Yeah,
up.
no, it's an egregore. Egregore is spirit. Zeitgeist is a spirit, global spirit.
Yes.
And I've watched Zeitgeist 1 like 3 or 4 times, and Zeitgeist 2 a couple of times.
Well, this is the trailer for their upcoming. And here, it's only 3 minutes long, and it briefly presents some of the ideas.
When we look at modern man, we have to face the fact that modern man suffers from a kind of poverty of the spirit, which stands in glaring contrast to its scientific and technological abundance. We've learned to fly the air like birds. We've learned to swim the seas like fish. And yet we haven't learned to walk the earth as brothers and sisters.
Folks, we're in trouble.
The whole system stinks. The whole idea of greed and profit and the exploitation of other people, it stinks.
Money operates on one value system. It defines value by price.
You see, no one notices what the true function of the system is. It is masked by propaganda and myth.
So far as poverty is concerned, there has never in history been a more effective machine for eliminating poverty than the free enterprise system and the free market.
Do we have a healthcare system?
Laugh track
No,
aside,
we
he's
don't.
absolutely
We have a
correct.
sickness and disability care system.
Is curing patients of cancer and disease a sustainable business model? Asks analysts at investment bank Goldman Sachs in an April 10th report.
You see, the dominant functions of a system are often not what they seem. People think the market is there to feed and clothe them. No, the primary function of this economy is to exploit scarcity and increase consumption.
Hidden camera footage shows how Amazon, the largest retailer in the world, systematically destroys billions of dollars worth of goods every year.
And it's funny, people talk about green capitalism as if it could ever be a thing.
How to say no. That's the subject under discussion.
And I suddenly realized, looking at that means that every fundamental capacity that has enabled our species to survive, we've defined by our economic system as worthless. Our ability to care for each other, to come to each other's rescue, to stand up for what's right, to oppose what's wrong.
Actively, or is it a subconscious? I just think it's part of capitalism, is to promote racism.
All of those fundamental capacities that we as a species need in order to survive, we've defined by our economic system as worthless. Now, is there another way? Of course there is. The question is, can we overcome the force of this system before it kills us? Because that is exactly what it's going to do in the end.
That's interesting, but here's the thing about Amazon destruction. It's not the same as real destruction. So a lot of things, when Amazon destroys it, it actually just leaks out to other firms. So when Amazon destroys things, it kind of gets recycled.
I mean, that whole clip was just pure propaganda. It just pointed out problems with humanity and blamed it on capitalism. There is no
capitalism's racist, bro. Apparently.
Yeah.
Well, and anyways, I'm telling you, a socialist by Marxist standards, but I would be a bourgeoisie socialist. Socialism is just a term for economics.
There's a reason why that Zeitgeist film is so popular and they're pushing it out to the masses. It's obviously some sort of controlled opposition nonsense.
Cage,
bullshit.
Cage,
well, I'm
shut up for a moment, please. Okay? Because I actually wanted to discuss this with Flo. I brought it up because you're here and you've already presented reasons against it. Your dismissal and your label as just dismissing it as propaganda, dude.
I think what you're saying.
Hey, shut up!
You're racist, Talcott.
Holy crap!
Good God,
that's hilarious. I'm a black person, and Cage is calling you a racist. That's come on.
Make a logical connection, a causal connection between capitalism and racism. That is not there with socialism.
there's plenty of evidence that it exists, and it has existed, that specifically capitalism was a driving force here in America that legalized slavery of minorities. All ethnicities have been enslaved here in America to varying degrees, and the slavery is continuing today.
Yeah,
that wasn't
I can make a case.
Hank. That wasn't. Let me respond. That wasn't a logical connection. That did not demonstrate a causal connection at all. It just restated the claim.
Okay, here. How about this offering? Through the money system, it creates a separation, the separation by perceived value, the accumulation. Okay, and anytime there's a separation, one side is going to have a privilege. In this case, the money brings an obvious privilege to those who do not. And with the privilege comes control and oppression and persecution. And history shows the money system has been stacked against our Black brothers and sisters and other people of color.
Yes, I want to make an even more direct argument.
Okay, I just want to point out real quick that again fails into
the existence of Black entertainment television, BET. So there you go. That is a direct connection between capitalism and racism.
What is?
The existence of BET, Black Entertainment Television.
Is BET
network.
racist?
The fact that it exists is a racist proposition.
Against white people?
Sure, we could say it's against white people. Not.
I don't. It's not.
I mean,
it's a racial. It's a racial creation. It's not a racist one.
What's the difference between racial and racist?
One is prejudiced and one is not.
And what's your definition of prejudice?
I'm not playing this game.
Of course, you can't play this game.
No, well, I'm not playing the chase around the questions thing.
Yes,
thank you. Your sources games. You know what prejudice means. If you don't, then this conversation's over your pay grade.
Well,
of course, because my opinion doesn't matter. Of course not.
Hank,
because of capitalism.
Hank, asking all the questions you want, it may lead to information, but you've got to find the answers to things within you. And you know what you're doing here. What Flo is right. You're creating this chain of questioning, and earlier you mentioned your experience with others earlier. They said you didn't fit in, and I asked you, is it partially because of that?
Yes, it's completely because of that. Instead of asking questions, I just do everything people tells me, even though they don't know the truth themselves, and they think it's easy. It's easy, even though it's not easy, and it's annoying and painful for me. But it doesn't matter because of their convenience.
What is? I missed the first part of that.
Exactly. People do keep it goes over their heads on knowing they make things for me.
Yes, we actually all hold a mutual responsibility to help share what we know, right? To share our understandings. We can't just say things and expect people to understand.
One has animosity towards a particular race. The other is just centered around it.
Yes.
We're not going to do this the whole way through with every word.
Agreed. Hey, Flo. There you go, man.
Oh, snap. Hold on. I got it. Okay. I got to go over mine. Oh, shit. Hank, or I'm sorry, Chuck, I'm going to have to drop you an airplane later. I don't know how to do it from here. I've got, when you buy memberships or when you give memberships, I got like a little video clip. Have you seen it? It's badass.
It is pretty badass. I'll develop more as I go, and as I go, things will develop. But hey, I'm inviting all of you here on the panel, in the chat, both chats, wherever you're at. I'm inviting you to consider there's something going on here, something quite big, something quite unique. And I appreciate everyone who joins, even though they, you know what? Hey, welcome, my friend Illumitami. I don't know where we stand today, but I'm greeting you as a friend.
Something happening here. What it is kind of quite clear. Just say, stop, Jack, and look around. We keep telling you what's going down. You're sitting here saying that, like, you're looking for answers, and we give them to you every day. It's what you backstage us for. And now you're in my boat where I'm trying to either get money for a homeless guy or my dog, and you got Flow State over here just going, yeah, I want gas and cigarettes. So you got this douchebag Chuck
Tom,
throwing $10 to Flow State right in your face, Jack.
he
I
could
don't
throw
like
to the
it
homeless
either.
guy who's
This
scamming
whole
you.
community's going
Who
to
needs
shit.
$200 to start their job? Have you ever heard of anything?
Oh, okay. So for the third time, Flo, do you know, like, I used the analogy of when I was a newspaper kid getting, like, dodged by grown-ass adults. Have you never been in a city where someone gets a cab ride and when they get there, they just dip? Have you never seen that, Flo? Do I have to
I've
explain
never
that to
seen a
you?
homeless person who just needed $200 to get their job back.
No, a cab driver.
Hold on. I'm seeing that.
Hey, tweaker, leave that hippie alone. Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, we should have this conversation without close face and without all the noise. Everybody,
I agree.
probably Cage too, but he's being quiet right now.
Yeah, I'm cautious with Cage. We're learning to get along better. And Tommy, Cecil, please, no offense. Maybe you didn't know my intentions, but I am intending to try and change the energy, change the direction of what this stream does and what it represents. And I would love to get back to the idea of what is real. I mean,
are
here,
you sure that that's the
this quote? Consider this. World's present industrial civilization is handicapped by the coexistence of two universal, overlapping, and incompatible intellectual systems. The greed and what is natural for nature to share, those are incompatible. These are my interpretations of his words, but we're handicapped by the coexistence of two universal, overlapping, and incompatible intellectual systems. The accumulated knowledge of the last 4 centuries of the properties and interrelationships of matter and energy, and the associated monetary culture from which has evolved from folk waves of prehistoric origin. We can rise above. We have learned enough about science and nature to know that there is no separation. And what?
Okay,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's false. You're making more claims without connecting the dots. So, what have we learned about science or nature that supports the claim?
Supports which claim?
Any claim, but the one you're just making about how the quote just pulled up.
Oh, Jack, you got this?
Waffle.
Jack, do you have this one? If not, I can take it.
Feel free, Hank. Go ahead.
We should kick Hank too.
No, I want to see what Hank's.
I know you do. All right. Why don't just me and Hank talk?
So we can explain it as a Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. So
correct.
So the problem is how harsh nature is. The problem is nature, how harsh it was. So the reaction was technology. We built up technology, civilization, including money itself. That's what the reaction to the harshness of nature. And that solution, the synthesis, is optimizing technology to be compatible with nature. So we would get rid of crazy abstractions such as copyright, because it's very easy to share. It's nearly free to share ideas. We should just cut down that barrier.
It looks like fucking Flow State's being waterboarded or something at this point. I remember fucking
It's impossible for me and Jack to have this conversation. Because that wasn't really on point. That had nothing to. So we made technology because nature is harsh. I agree.
Yes, absolutely.
So that you answered something else entirely.
You just don't understand the answer.
That might be true. I don't think you understood the question though.
Okay, Jack, your turn.
Jack is trying to propose that we're now ready to evolve beyond using currency to exchange for goods that we consume.
Yeah, but
he said that science and nature have shown that we are now can move past it. I would like to know what science has been shown.
It's a science of imagined disagreements, Flow State. Haven't you learned yet?
Yeah, I mean, we could share our thoughts across this network.
Get the fuck out of here and have this conversation.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cage and Hank, thanks for joining. We're going to continue this without you. So to bring it back, welcome, Joe Cool. Tell you what, I would actually appreciate. Joe, did you see the video that I brought up? A little 3-minute video.
You're muted.
You're muted, brother. You unmuted, but you're no audio. So unless I can do something. It looks
look
good.
how he'll be. Look how frustrated he looked.
Here,
I don't think he saw it, but he didn't miss a lot. Okay, we're gonna watch it again.
I'd like to watch it again. Okay, and please just allow yourself to consider a couple of the things that brought up.
And here, Jack, you're trying to brainwash us.
Let me point out a couple of things that I heard in this very short clip. Okay. In this current society, value is determined by price. Think about where price comes from. Price really comes from propaganda, from advertising.
No, it comes from value.
Well, that's what is alleged. Okay, but
that's how it actually functions. You pay more for things you value more.
Value is determined by price. Okay.
And if the price is too high, you won't pay for it because you don't value it enough.
Right. You focus on the price and you miss the value.
Check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're low, but we can hear you. You're kind of tinny, but we got you.
Yes. You're with us, Joe.
You sound beautiful.
Here, the other part, please consider when we focus on price, we do overlook the true value. That's why you find bargains. And, you were talking about finding bargains yourself, these little treasures that are discovered.
Right.
What is also mentioned in this video is that it points out how we've developed is through an exploitation of scarcity. So
nope. I reject that entirely.
How do you reject that?
What is exploitation?
Okay. What would exploitation mean to you? I have my own definitions and ideas.
Exploitation means taking advantage of somebody else. And it implies that, well, I'll leave the implications out. It takes taking advantage of somebody.
Exactly. So when things are scarce, people take advantage of that.
Things actually are scarce.
Okay. And there's also illusions of scarcity. You know about the diamond industry?
There are some industries that have the false illusion of scarcity. Diamonds is a fantastic one.
Right. That's what this is talking about. These problems should not be just dismissed or...
But the thing about the false, even with artificial scarcity, if I buy a diamond ring, I still made the free choice. I may have done a stupid purchase, but it was worth it to me. I made the decision. It's my freedom to make bad choices.
That is true.
Wait, I think in Jack's favor. What if there's fake scarcities, like there's a scarcity of milk or meat because you're dumping it to create fake scarcities? I assume they do that as well.
Who's dumping it? I mean, who's able to do this? In a free market, in free market capitalism, nobody would have the centralized authority to do this. Yes.
Not true. Float here. Within the last couple of years, there was recent, I don't remember the exact reasons, but there was farmers just disposing of
milk and killing cattle.
The USDA was paying them to do it because it forced everybody to shut the fuck down. Exactly what I'm talking about. It was centralized government authority that caused the problem.
Flow. Okay. Here, please.
Flow has a point, right? Go ahead. Let's go ahead, Jack.
Here, just relax for 3 minutes. Allow yourself to just...
I saw the last seconds. I thought it was fantastic, and Flo said it was propaganda.
It's pure propaganda. Let it melt your brain.
Great, bro.
Here, You'll be fine with allowing yourself to consider different ideas. I promise. Just consider, please.
When we look at modern man, we have to face the fact that modern man suffers from a kind of poverty of the spirit.
Appeal to virtue.
Which stands in glaring contrast to his scientific and technological abundance. We've learned to fly the air like birds. We've learned to swim the seas like fish. And yet we haven't learned to walk the earth as brothers and sisters.
Any disagreement?
Oh, no, but I'm with Flo. I'm assuming they're using it for nefariety. He's right, and he was right in his spirit, but I'm assuming that these guys are on some greasy shit. I don't know yet. I'm excited.
Hey, Flo is right. It's an appeal to emotion, because this is an emotional subject. It's true. The oppression and destruction.
The opening scene, tying it with Martin Luther King. He's one of those figures that almost nobody will, even in their own head, want to go against. It's the ultimate. He's the ultimate symbol of this is the good side of history.
Amen. Assuming nefariety because they
manipulative.
Yes, I'm thinking I'm bad, but let's watch it. I'm curious. Let's see.
All right, all right. I'll try to stop interrupting.
Like fish, and yet we haven't learned to walk the earth as brothers and sisters.
Folks, we're in trouble.
The whole system stinks. The whole idea of greed and profit and the exploitation of other people, it stinks.
Money operates on one value system. It defines value by price.
You see, no one knows.
Price is a measure of value. Price is a way of measuring value.
Yeah,
that's
it.
It's an indicator. You're correct. Price is an indicator of value.
Price moves to reflect value. There's market equilibriums. This is Econ 101.
Money operates on one value system, on price. The price of a man and his time and energy and labor, the price
he
of
sells
commodity.
it for the price, so it must be worth less than what he's getting paid to him.
He's been convinced his time and energy is worth less than what he can create on his own.
No, it's literally probably that's the public. Yeah, I agree.
That's
with
the public school
system. It's got nothing to do with capitalism.
Yes.
It's the public school system. That's actually socialism.
The public school system taught us capitalism. Open your eyes, Flo.
Be nice. Be nice.
Flo, open your eyes. The public
I know every problem that you point out is socialism, basically.
Capitalism. It taught you capitalism, the socialist thing you want to point out. So what if you call it socialism? It taught you capitalism.
It's both. You have an argument. You don't have.
There is a sliding.
Correct.
Every political and economic system is a sliding scale between more centralized control and more individual autonomy. All the problems that we're describing come from more centralized control. That's your socialism. That's your communism.
Wait, whoa! This is a straw man argument. Nothing promoting a centralized control. So here, tell you what, we've got a couple folks in the back. Let's finish through the video, just a couple minutes, and then we'll get into some conversations again, please. And I'll try to stay.
It operates on one value system. It defines value by price.
You see, no one notices what the true function of the system is. It is masked by propaganda and myth.
So far as poverty is concerned, there has never in history been a more effective machine for eliminating poverty than the free enterprise system and the free market.
True statement, followed by use of a laugh track.
Well, see, this is part of the deception. And if you...
You're right. The laugh track stuck in there right after Milton Friedman saying something true is absolutely part of the deception.
Flo.
What?
Let's be nice.
There has never been a free market. It's a fucking lie.
There has never been a free market. I will agree. But there have been more. Actually, I disagree. There has been.
So far as poverty is concerned,
okay, go ahead. I guess I wasn't talking.
No,
carry on with the propaganda. Force feed us another round of this bullshit.
I am.
I know. Go for it.
regardless what you think, I'm asking you to accept and consider the truth that's in the words, rather than
It's
all
not
this
true.
worrying
Hey,
about.
I'm with both of you. Jack has a point.
Right.
Because they're so slick, and they did use the laugh track to get you. It was a tactic, but Jack still has a point. Still listen to the words. I see that they're trying to slick us, and they're very good at it. But don't let that not let you listen to the words in your argument, Jack.
I've
You're
listened to
fighting
the
them.
words once already. I understand the words.
Okay.
The premise,
I believe
here's the
you. You
thing.
know that.
Everything in this, everything that they claim and everything that Jack's going to claim will not have any causal relationship explained. It's all going to be claims stacked on claims, and none of them will have any causal
I
relationship
don't think
established.
Jack's arguing what the movie is saying yet, and I've only seen, admittedly, a few seconds. But I think it's saying if you had a heart, you use these instruments for good, and everything would work. I haven't heard that argument yet. I think that's what they're saying.
Basically,
yeah.
Why is that the case? That's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask every single claim. I'm going to ask why. Back it up.
All right.
All right. We should watch it before we fight that argument.
I moved past, so you don't have to suffer through the propaganda again. So hopefully,
the whole thing's propaganda, not just the
well,
yeah. Let me hear.
Well, see, this is the problem. If you're going to view it through that eye, then that's all you're going to see. And
that's
so,
literally what the fuck it is. It does not explain anything. It makes claims and throws in manipulative editing tricks. But I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to discuss the claims at the end, guys.
Well, and here, how about this? Something about human psychology. Please just consider. When we view things, we've already convinced myself this is propaganda. That's exactly what you're going to see, and you're going to reject it because you know to protect yourself from propaganda. Now, all I'm suggesting is these are different ideas that I'd love to discuss, not just listen to your fucking opinions and objections.
Be nice. You got to learn to communicate without the anger, Jack.
Yes, Joe, you're absolutely right.
You're going to shove that thumb in an eyeball.
I didn't mean that.
Do we have a healthcare system? No, we don't. We have a sickness and disability care system.
Is curing patients of cancer and disease a sustainable business model? Asks analysts at investment bank Goldman Sachs in an April 10th report.
You see, the dominant functions of a system are often not what they seem. People think the market is there to feed and clothe them. No, the primary function of this economy is to exploit scarcity and increase consumption.
Hidden camera footage shows how Amazon, the largest retailer in the world, systematically destroys billions of dollars worth of goods every year.
And it's funny, people talk about green capitalism as if it could ever be a thing.
How to say no. That's the subject under discussion.
And I suddenly realized, looking at that means that every fundamental capacity that has enabled our species to survive, we've defined by our economic system as worthless. Our ability to care for each other, to come to each other's rescue, to stand up for what's right, to oppose what's wrong.
Actively, or is it a subconscious? I just think it's part of capitalism, is to promote racism.
All of those fundamental capacities that we as a species need in order to survive, we've defined by our economic system as worthless. Now, is there another way? Of course there is. The question is, can we overcome the force of this system before it kills us? Because that is exactly what it's going to do in the end.
All right, they shot themselves in the leg a good 4 times that I saw. They have a good argument. They didn't have to do the tricks they did. That Amazon shit was a trick. The Martin Luther King was a trick. Bunch of us are tricks. Wait. I'm not saying they're wrong. Right. Yeah. They were tricks used to pull you in, like Madison Avenue type shit, used to trick you. They had a great message, in my opinion. It was solid. I think they shot themselves in the foot, misleading you a little bit. And
wait, what was misleading? By showing facts, what is misleading?
All right.
Well, they weren't fat. For instance, first, I wanted to point out that capitalism has a much better environmental record than communism does.
Allegedly.
It for sure does.
Oh, actually, yes, it does. Why? Because after we polluted our environment, grew through the industrial age, we then outsourced all the jobs to those developing nations so they could work slave wages, and they're going through the growth.
So communism sucks because capitalism did it. Unfucking real.
Brother, we are living in a worldwide system facing the same systems.
The reason that capitalism is better than communism at managing the environment is because we have a self-interest in preserving or maintaining the resources that fuel the profit. Communism doesn't, because there's no competition and it doesn't matter. You just force people to do what you want them to do.
That's a straw man narrative. That's
You're just using that word. I don't think that you know how to.
Actually, no, here a straw man argument. You're taking what I'm saying, you're building a false image of it and arguing against that false image.
A straw man.
So your argument is completely unrelated.
Can I go back to the milk thing real fast, Jack?
Good to see you, man.
How is it
What's up,
not
guys?
related?
So
it is related.
One sec. We're going to move on real fast, Flo. We're going to go back to the milk. Milk in Canada is highly regulated, right? So last year, the farmers
Are we going back from before I got here?
No,
you were here on the panel.
You said they're not dumping milk, and then we said they are dumping milk, and then you said it was because of the system.
Okay, so there was a surplus by government standards. They overdid the quota that the government had allocated for them, and so they were dumping millions and millions of gallons of milk onto the ground. They were just getting rid of this milk while the price of milk was rising. And now I'm just going to move on to the next topic real fast, and then you guys can take over. Homelessness has become one of the biggest businesses in America. $1.5 billion was spent in New York alone on shelters. All these nonprofits that keep popping up, all this bureaucracy bullshit. It's not free market capitalism anymore. We don't live in a free market. We live in a controlled society, and it's all bullshit.
I like it most.
What we live in now is closer to a fascist economy, technically, than it is to any others.
Agreed.
It's all because of the dollar.
All right. Well, here
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not, but
well, no. I mean, what else do you use to measure itself? What other unit of measure uses itself to measure itself but the dollar? You don't use gallon to measure gallons. You it's retarded.
You don't understand the purpose of money, Scott.
Here, how about
you don't understand the law?
Please pause, because for a moment there, it seemed like we had a moment where everyone was in agreement that this current system, whatever names we give it, it's not right. Okay, so if we can recognize that and where we are, the real next question is, what can we do? I actually think we can do something. Bear with me just a moment. Please.
Sure. We can make it better or worse.
Well, this is our lifetime to see. Totes, are you there?
Yes. Yes, bro. Okay. One love. What's happening?
Peace. All right. Welcome, my friend.
How is money let me rephrase it. How would the elimination of money resolve the problems being presented?
I don't think that's
the elimination of money is actually a secondary effect in my views. The true problem is the value. We've got to shift our mindset away from the value of price, the value of a dollar, and start valuing relationships.
You have it upside down.
You're talking about
according to your
No, according to the way it works, Jack, if there's only one bottle of water left in the world, you're going to pay a lot more money for it. That's supply and demand. It's simple. You see it working in every day. Every day you see that shit.
Yeah, but I thought we agreed that it was controlled supply and demand. I thought we agreed.
The supply is controlled. The market price, still adjusts to the supply and the demand, but the demand is controlled.
I've never heard of water run dry, a river run dry from the mountain.
That's a straw man. That's a perfect straw man right there. It was an example of how supply and demand works. It wasn't talking about the abundance of water.
We're talking about the physical currency.
Physical currency, yes.
Right. The gold and silver, like the tradable.
What about
it?
Here, how about this? I'm kind of inclined to move away from this subject because it appears that we're just Flo's dug in. He's adamant. I'm wrong.
No, I want to have this conversation.
I don't really care to continue hosting conversations where I'm being mocked and insulted by what
That's
I
not
know.
what's
You're not being
happening.
either of those. You're being a fucking crybaby because
That
you're
ain't
wrong.
what's happening.
All right,
Come on,
I'm not
man.
wrong,
That's not
Flo.
nice. That's not nice, bro.
He just
Here's
has
the-
a differing
intellectual.
opinion.
That's not
Don't
very
take it as mockery. His opinion
Okay.
differs from yours.
Yep. Hey, Joe, you're right. But I'm continually being told I'm wrong when I know for a fact I'm here on this platform right now to share the truth that I know. So this nonsense
If
of
you
you
know
got
it,
it
then
backwards,
explain
Jack,
it.
just this judgment and condemnation constantly.
It's just
Okay,
him
we're-
saying you're wrong.
We're
Don't you
deteriorating
think
and victiming.
you
Flo,
think
you can
Flo
go
is
continue.
wrong,
Joe,
too, right?
What?
You think Flo is wrong as well. And
Yeah,
you're saying
I
it.
know he
There's
is.
nothing wrong
You
with that. He's saying
condemn me.
Jack
You
is
condemn
wrong.
me.
You can say that you're wrong.
Yes.
And
Well,
you can
here's
say
the
that
deal.
he's wrong.
Joe, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Please consider whether you guys want to accept what I'm saying as true or
Don't
not.
throw me in there. I agree with everything the movie said.
If you believe I can accomplish the things I'm pursuing or not, honestly, it is irrelevant. And I'd like you to really consider what is happening. Because if I'm right that peace can be found, that the truth can be known, we can have disclosure, we can actually get along in this world. If you can't imagine the value of that possibility, please consider it, because that's what I'm suggesting is available to us. And if you can imagine that possibility, ask yourself, why am I receiving so much opposition?
If you don't see it, you don't understand. It is what
I
it
know.
is.
I know.
Like, allow my brother, allow Cage, you know my brother Cage, allow him back on, and I'll calm him down. He's an enlightened bro. He's enlightened. Come on, allow Cage on.
You're totally ignoring what the hell I'm talking about and what has just
Who
been
is that?
happening in front of you. I don't know. Apparently he came over with Cage. Flo, I don't mean any disrespect to you or Joe or anyone else, but seriously, think about what you're doing.
I am. I would like you to respect me enough to answer the questions. When I want an explanation of something, explain it instead of just trying to gaslight me and throw me off the fucking panel and play a victim. I'm not asking you questions in bad faith. I'm asking you questions because what you're proposing doesn't make fucking sense.
Well, I understand, but please accept your part in the lack of understanding.
I won't.
You are responsible for what you allow yourself to accept or not. What you understand is entirely up to you. And Flo, you're right.
I only accept things that I understand. If somebody says something and then can't explain it, I don't accept that because they don't understand what they're proposing, or they do and they're lying. But I'm not suggesting that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, apparently Joe is unclear of why he got put in the back. Joe, I've asked you repeatedly to stop interrupting and speaking over me and others. You refuse to stop, and that's why Cage got put to the back. You guys create these false, I don't know why Jack's so mean to me. Look at your fucking behavior. I mean, seriously, people. Hey, back to Flo. Let me recognize and apologize to you. I don't mean to dismiss you. I'm asking for the same in return, though. I am not an idiot. I can answer questions. Can you accept answers?
Can you discuss an idea without personalizing everything?
Yes, I'm working on that. I'm working on it.
Okay. Because I'm going to critique the fuck out of this idea. None of it is critiquing Jack personally.
Do you think I haven't heard critiques?
What is
I mean, tell you what, let's find critiques and let's see if objections and disbelief might be able to be overcome. But if you're going to play this game of show me an example,
why should I believe you?
You can't imagine the benefit of what is being proposed. If possible, you can't imagine the benefit of a world without secrets.
I can imagine the benefit of being able to fly, but I'm not going to step off a roof. Why would it be a good decision to believe you?
Flo, I'm not asking you to step off a roof. I'm
you
asking you to sit here today or reflect later and consider just simple ideas. Simply consider ideas. You can't
I have
understand.
considered these ideas before. They're not new. They're old as shit. I have an economics degree.
Tell
I
you what.
spent college considering ideas like this.
God damn it, Flo. Could you get into your imagination?
Here's what I want you to recognize. We live today, and I understand you've invested a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of life source energy into your education and what you have become. I recognize.
I don't use my degree at all for anything. It's not an attachment. My professional ego is not invested in it. I understand the mechanics of it. It's a system of mechanics. So when the mechanics don't work,
it doesn't change the fact that what I said is true. You invested a lot of time and energy into that education. Okay. So I want to recognize that there is a reason you want to be right. There's an absolute reason deep within you. And
I want to recognize that you're discrediting me by trying to assign ulterior motives to my position. That is a douchebag move. You're a piece of shit. And you're deceptive and you're dishonest. These are all personal attacks, not critiques of your ideas. They're critiques of you.
I see that. Yeah. And you really want to stand behind that?
I'm sitting right here behind it. Play those fucking games.
Projection is the closest thing to a confession. You would never know the hypocrisy of someone until they blame everything on you, which actually
all right, let's apply this.
True.
We'll take it back. We're going to take it back to you accusing me of having ulterior motives because that's where this fucking started.
Flo, I did not accuse you of ulterior motives. You have been casting that accusation at me that I am misleading people.
So what was the point of recognizing?
Again, Flo, back to your behavior, please. Recognize you are projecting onto me what you are literally doing. Okay? Here, show.
I just want to be clear that I came up to say that we do not
This
live
is
in
for
a
Jack.
capitalist
He's a liar and a
society.
piece of shit.
We live in a highly controlled capitalist society, and there's a bunch of crony bullshit going on. So I think it's crazy to think that we live in a free market. We don't. We're not free. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and thank you for that. Now, is anyone else willing to witness what I've just been experiencing? The ad hominem attacks from Flo as he's accusing me of what he's doing. Flo, what are you doing, man?
I'm discussing the topic with you, and you're being manipulative, and I'm calling it out. Can we stick on the topic? Let's discuss your ideas, what you're proposing. Let's not get distracted into how Jack's a victim, how nobody believes him, how Taylor's got ulterior motives. Let's just talk about the topic.
What can we discuss open-mindedly? Please present an objection we can discuss.
I'm not the one suggesting a change to the status quo. You are. You make a proposal. I'll tell you why I don't like it. Obviously, I'm coming into this with a pre-existing opinion, as are you.
No,
so don't ask me to leave mine at the door if you're going to hold on to yours.
Tell you what, Flo, you're still seeming a bit tied up into this, right? And I think part of it, here's where I think would be a good step for us all. Flo, with respect, I admire you, I care about you, but I think what is appropriate for you is to recognize the behavior you're showing. Okay, you expect me to sit here being said bullshit and disparaging, and you make these accusations about me, and then you want to just ignore your behavior. Flo, you're better than that. I'm better than that. I'm going to continue this stream on my own. The panel is now closed. So, Scott, no offense, Flo, God bless you, brother. It doesn't have to be like this, sincerely. Back to the topic of today. Well, we got off because of, the moment brought Flow State into this, and I encourage, Flow is a great guy.